every once in a while. Yeah. What item brings you here? Training.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Tuesday, April 25th, 2023 Public Works Committee meeting. Now is time for a roll call and determination of quorum.
Here. Present.
Here.
Here. Here.
Thank you. Now is time for adoption of the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion to adopt by Councilman Stroman, a second by Councilman Ham. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Now it's time for general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the committee on any issue, not limited to items on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. I don't see any general public comment. You want to be in public comment, Bill? Sure. Okay, go ahead. I think this is just...
Oh, there it is. I just wanted to mention that we have been meeting with the DOT people concerning the Anamosa Street Bridge as part of that beautification plan. We had a meeting with Tom Horan and two other DOT people last week. Members of Elevate were there and Destination Rapid City, in addition to Parks and Beautification members from the Beautification Committee. And they requested that we have a formal resolution from the council asking them to delay their project. So it will be appearing tomorrow at the legal finance thing, and then we'll vote on it. And Joel is drafting that right now. So they said that they were going to bid the bridge in September, but they wanted to start it for another year. So as far as I'm concerned, it really doesn't change anything. And that'll give the city and the other elements that are organizations that are concerned about perhaps creating a gateway type of bridge like they have in so many towns in Colorado and Wyoming, give us a chance to plan that. So that'll be appearing tomorrow at Legal Finance and then maybe at the City Council meeting Monday. Thanks.
Thank you. Go ahead, Greg, you can speak too.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to, we got an email today, a press release. Rapid City recognized by state for drinking water excellence, city honored for 20th consecutive year. And I grew up in a town in eastern South Dakota where they did a study of the drinking water in the town that I grew up in, and it was like second worst in the nation. And in Rapid City, we have the best drinking water. And even last week when we had a main break, we were only down for a few hours, and the guys got out there and got the water flowing again, and it's great water. And I just really appreciate what our city is able to do with the water, the drinking water here. That's all.
I want to add on this comment, if that's okay.
Thank you, Greg. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, last week when several of us attended that School of Mines and hosted military symposium, and one of the big topics was the foam residue that's polluting all the water sources. They have a problem with that out at Box Elder and at the base. And one of the speakers pointed out the only place in the entire hills that is free of that is our Deerfield aquifer replenishment basin up there, where they have a rating of 0 for that stuff. And he announced that on one of the speaking panels. So I just think it's critical that we retain that purity and continue our stance that we are opposed to any kind of mining in that particular area. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to speak about before we move on? If not, I will close general public comment. We'll move on to consent items. Items 1 through 13, I will open public comment. I don't see anybody that wants to speak, so I will close it. And I will move on to Public Works to speak on whichever items they want to speak on, or anything else.
Thank you, sir. We'll be tag teaming the day between the three of us over here on this side. I'll be taking items 2, 3, 5, 7, and 13. Stacy will be addressing items 4, 6, 8, and 9, and Chief Culberson will be addressing 10, 11, and 12. So, team effort here. Right off the bat, item number 2, that's a final change order for our Elkville lift station project, where we did some major upgrades to the lift station to meet future demands out there, and glad to get that one behind us and off the books. Item number 3 is a change order to LEI for the Robbinsdale Phase 6 Fairlane Drive reconstruction project, increase of $40,000. We've discovered that there were some additional sewer lines that were not previously recognized, and we changed some storm sewer piping down there to make sure that we accommodate the existing condition, shall we say. You never know what you're going to find till you dig it up. Item number 4, that's a change order for True Farm Construction on the 2022 miscellaneous improvements project. That's the one being completed down on South 5th Street down here. We were able to add some sidewalk. This came through a citizen and through some council members requesting sidewalk be added along Minnesota Street. It was adjacent to the project down there, so we were able to get that added. And we've also added some handicap ramps down there, so we have full pedestrian access along Minnesota Street now. Item number 7 is engineering services for Waterloo Street, complete reconstruction. Waterloo Street, just for your information, runs from La Crosse Street to the west and then turns south and all the way down to Adams Street, crossing Van Buren and East Jackson Street over there in Northern Rapids. So, good project. Jump down to item 13 on my list. That's a request from Renner Associates for Mr. Thompson, for a variance to waive the requirement to install sidewalk along Pacific Lane in the Pleasant Hill addition. For your information, that is a street that is just south of Twilight Drive out in the valley area, and there are no other sidewalks in the area, and we have a very narrow right-of-way out there. He has definitely made significant improvements to the lot, and we didn't see the need for a sidewalk at this time. So I will pass it on to Stacy.
Thank you, Roger. Item number 4 is a change order to PKG Contracting for the miscellaneous improvements project, facility type fencing. This project is, 90% of the work is being done out at the water reclamation facility. And this change order does two things. There are some milestone completion dates that are being adjusted because of supply chain issues still, delivery dates. And it was built in the contract to allow some intermediate changes if the suppliers had difficulty on delivery times. So that's part of the change order. The other is some items that were coming up that we did not know about. For instance, there's a generator install that we're doing, and we encountered underneath the pavement some substantial soft soils, so we had to over excavate and put in foundation material to stabilize that before we put the concrete foundation material in for the new generators out there. This project is a component of the south plant expansion. These were a number of projects that needed to be done in ahead of time prior to the south side plant to just keep the facility operating. Item number 6, is an agreement between HDR Engineering for professional services for another go-around of miscellaneous improvements project. This project is primarily for the solid waste facility and the area in the material recovery facility that we call the tip floor, which is where the large garage doors are out at the solid waste facility. We needed to install or retrofit the existing heating ventilation system that's aged and outlived its design life, as well as do some work on the fire suppression system on the tip floor. So that's what this contract will be for. Item number 8 is the purchase of a current year model, 1-ton rear dual truck, and that is for equipment maintenance at the street shop. It's a budgeted item. And item number 9 is for 2 new current model 5500 regular cab 4x4 steel dump body pickups, and this is for the street department snow removal, and it's also a budgeted line item. That's all I have, and I'll turn it over to the chief.
Thanks, Stacy. 10 is to sign a permanent non-exclusive utility easement for Black Hills Power. First, I'll say these 3 are all doing with our training tower out on Creek Drive, which should be starting to build sometime early in May. I think they're mobilizing May 1st. So this will be the utility easement for Black Hills Power to run power into that area so we can have power out at that the new burn tower. Number 11 is to create the H lot for that piece of property. And number 12 is a request for a variance to waive the requirement to install a sidewalk along Creek Drive, where we're putting in that portion of our tower, our lot there. There are no sidewalks within that entire street on Creek Drive. The closest one would be up on Lombardi around the Monument Health. I will say that we will have intentions once we put a building out there where it will be occupied, we will be putting a sidewalk in at that time.
Thank you. Any questions from the dais on any of these items? I knew Bill would have to talk. Go ahead, Bill.
I don't have a question concerning these, but just a question in general, since I was called to answer a constituent yesterday and I didn't know the answer. They live over on one of these steep side hill streets, Florman, Rio, Arroyo, whatever those are, on the side hill below the TV towers. And there's a big patch that was installed in front of one of these guys' houses on a grade that, I don't know, it looks like 8-10%. It's really pretty steep. And the whole thing has slid kind of as a unit, and it's, I don't know, 15 feet long, kind of down the hill. And he was saying, well, we put in these liners before they put the asphalt over, and it's supposed to cause it to adhere. But evidently it's given way, and I didn't have an answer because I don't know the process, even though I pretty near know everything. In this case, I didn't know what to say to him. What kind of a system do we use when we do a patch like that? Is there some kind of liner that could possibly have failed that would cause this thing to slip as a unit down the hill? That's the question.
All right. Well, thank you for the question, Bill. I'd like to get the address from you so we can take a look at it. That's the first thing. The second thing is anytime you're placing material on a hill, obviously gravity rules the day. There's not really a liner that goes in there. What we typically do with asphalt is, the bottom lift goes in. There's usually 2 lifts of asphalt that goes in. Minimum of 5 inches thick. The bottom lift is 3 inches. The top lift is 2 inches. Between the lifts, we apply what we call a tack, which is an oil or a glue-based, acts as a kind of a glue between the things. It's not uncommon for items on steep slopes to slide. It is uncommon for it to slide all as a unit. But no, I'd like to take a look at that and see what causes it. But as far as a liner, no, there's nothing really that we use other than just build a box and put stuff in a box, and then do the best we can to get it in there as compact and as tight as possible, and use the tack to adhere the 2 layers together. So, but if you could email me that address, I'll sure have our guys take a look
I
at it.
can't remember it offhand, but I was suspect because I'd never heard of such a thing and was wondering if they were a little bit off base. I did point out that place in front of my house is worse than this. You ought to stop complaining. I did say that to him. That didn't, no, thanks.
If we have no more questions for the dais, I'll look for a motion.
Move to approve all of them.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Evans, a second by Councilman Ham. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Need a motion to adjourn? Have a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Thank you.